Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things going on in the world of professional wrestling. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to the Top Tier Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Don DeRosa, joined as always by my podcast partner in crime, Josh Acero. Today, we cover
Josh is
AEW's
there.
Dynamite from March 4th. Let's get into it.
Donder Rosa. That's amazing. And Josh Acero. I love it. That's fantastic. But
Yay!
this episode of Dynamite is coming at us from El Paso, Texas. And it looks to be pretty stacked with two championship matches on the card. And right out the gate, they open the show with MJF versus Kevin the Jet Knight. So clearly, they didn't want to start slow.
Nah, they meant some business.
Seriously. Um, I wasn't sure what to expect out of this match. I know we had some predictions. I think your prediction was that MJF is going to super seriously mess up Kevin the Jet Knight.
Yeah.
And it kind of played out that way, but not quite how we thought.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, it did not play out the way I had originally predicted per se. And just to catch everybody up, the last podcast I predicted that MJF would use this opportunity to literally destroy Kevin Knight. Um, basically because he was already in a pissy mood, and also it would really have hit a nerve with Hangman had he done so. And I even mentioned that we knew that Hangman was going to be at Dynamite, which he was. Um, In fact, I think he had a match later in the evening, but it didn't really play out the way that I had originally planned. MJF was going to destroy him, and then be walk away devious as fuck. Um, no, and instead, what we had was a pretty good match, like a slobber knocker here. Like these two dudes
Yeah,
went
very
at
good
it,
match.
and Kevin once again proves why he is in the position that he is in AEW. Like he is seriously the real deal. Um I continue to keep my prediction that WWE will try to snatch him up very soon if they haven't already. Um and I hope that he says no, because I'm not trying to take shots at WWE, but I just don't think they have been handling AEW crossover talent as well as AEW has been handling WWE crossover talent. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't even think that WWE knows what they're doing with their main roster people, like the ones that have been there for a minute. And all the injuries and whatnot have completely screwed up the storylines over there. So I'm hoping, because I'm not saying like fuck WWE, okay? I'm not trying to shit on the man while he's down. I'm not trying to do that. But I'm just saying I don't think that that's where an AEW talent should go right now. Some shit's on fire.
What? You
Um
weren't thrilled with Danhausen's debut and Powerhouse Keys Hobbs Royce?
I mean, if I were Powerhouse or Keys or whatever he's going by now, if I were him, I would be really concerned right now. And I mean, like, because I mean, I'm trying to understand what they sold to him to get him there. Because he was so adamant about this is where he wanted to go, and that they had just offered a better deal. What was the deal? Was it all just financial? If so, then congratulations, because I mean that might be what he wanted. Maybe he's taking some time off now to spend all that WWE money. If that's the
Yeah.
case, cool. But if not, and they just don't have any plans for me, I would be very concerned, especially considering another one of my AEW teammates just joined up, somebody who isn't that great of a wrestler, no disrespect, Danhausen, and they got some shit for him already. Like they're trying to course correct what they've done there with him, but have no desires or no plans to do anything with Powerhouse. I'd be, hmm, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be a little concerned if I were him. But I just don't think that's the place to go for young hot talent right now, man. Maybe if all you want is the money, then yeah, maybe that's the place to go. But if you want to legit put some sort of legacy to your name that people are gonna talk about years to come, because people are gonna talk about Kenny Omega. They will. And say what you want about Swerve Strickland, they're gonna talk about him because he's done some crazy shit. They're definitely gonna talk about Darby Allen. You see my point?
The
Um,
Bucks. Yeah. Yep.
and it's gonna be their wrestling, their in ring work. Um, for the I'm not gonna go down that road. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. If I were Royce, I would be concerned. But back to this match. Um, I found this to be even though my predictions didn't really come to pass the way I said. We'll talk about how they kind of sorta work their way into the storyline here when the time comes. And I thought that this match was fucking fantastic for an opener. Let's not beat around the bush here. Let's just get right to the fucking ass kickery. And so they did. Um, yeah, I thought this was a fantastic opener. MJF, yeah, his personality, he's a heel, he's this, he's that. Um, but we cannot deny that he is a generational talent in the ring. Um, I'm all about giving wrestlers their credit for their in-ring work because they are fucking wrestlers first. Um, and MJF is I think a fantastic addition to any promotions roster. Like that dude is a treasure indeed. And him and Hangman together, Merry Christmas to all of us. We didn't know that it was going to be early Christmas. We didn't know AEW would be giving us so many gifties, and yet here we are. Here we are.
All the
Fantastic
gifties.
opener. Yeah. What did you think?
I'm kind of in a similar boat. Like it didn't quite go down how I thought it would. Like
Right.
it did and it didn't. Like it didn't go down to the extreme level that I thought it would. Like I thought MJF would beat Kevin Knight and then somehow after the match like drop a car on him or something, like send him to the hospital, like really mess him up bad. And what he did do was attack Kevin Knight's ribs so thoroughly in this match, with several like kitchen sinks and slamming him into the turnbuckle that like he ended up with a kayfabe rib injury, and it ultimately led to the outcome of the match. Before I get to the finish, though, I would like to call out some standout cool moves. Like you were just talking about how talented MJF is in the ring, and like out of the middle of the action, he picks up Kevin Knight on his shoulders and just straight up hits a Brock Lesnar style F5 on him.
Oh, it was so pretty.
It was so pretty. And then to give
Ah,
Kevin Knight
MJ.
some feathers, Kevin Knight did a full commit over the top rope flying clothesline lariat
Yeah.
to MJF.
Yeah.
And when I say full commit, I mean he dove headfirst towards MJF with little regard for the fact that the ground was shortly behind him.
Yeah.
And this thing was pretty, and they replayed it like 4 times because it was so pretty. Like
Don't blame him. It was
what
gorgeous.
I what
Yeah.
I can say about it here does not do this justice. Like this was a crazy over the top full commit diving lariat. Like Kevin Knight just put his life in MJF's hands for this one, because if MJF had buckled any sooner or not, defrayed momentum any better, Kevin Knight would have just flown straight into, like, head first into the ground. So this was phenomenal. And they
Yeah.
not only put on a great match, but um, ultimately the rib injury slows down Kevin Knight enough that MJF gets the one up on him and eventually hits the heat seeker for the win. But it wasn't until after Kevin Knight and him threw out a real banger of a match for us. Then following on the end of that win, um, MJF attempts to use the Dynamite Diamond ring to try and lay out Kevin Knight proper, but out comes Hangman Page. And this distracts MJF long enough for Speedball Mike Bailey to get into the ring. And when MJF turns around to deal with Kevin again, he ends up with a massive side kick to the face, like just the superest of super kicks that sends him out to the floor. And so Hangman and Speedball Mike Bailey are able to prevent MJF from thoroughly trashing Kevin Knight further. And
Which
this was,
surprised me.
yeah, that because we kind of thought that was where it was going to go, but it didn't quite. Although Kevin Knight did, at least in the kayfabe, have like his ribs pretty screwed up by that match.
Yeah.
And wow, what a way to start the show. I mean, Dynamite's like, well, how about a world championship match right here at the beginning? And it was a banger.
Yeah. I do not disagree. As you heard me say. Hmm.
Indeed. And to keep the momentum going, they follow that matchup with Darby Allin and freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy as a tag team going against the, I thought they were called the War Dogs, but now they're just the Dogs, but it's Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors.
Yeah.
And going into this match, I was leery because we've been kind of critical of how kind of goofy Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd have been. And that last match between Gabe Kidd and Orange Cassidy, we were very critical. I certainly was, of the fact that it was just hell stabs and back chops, hell stabs and back chops.
Yeah.
So coming into this, I was like, oh man, show me something, not more of this same goofy, not really wrestling worth a damn. And I guess they heard me because they brought it in this one.
Yeah.
But before I get to my thoughts on that, what were your thoughts on this match?
Um. Excuse me. So ignoring all campiness and goofiness and walking on all fours. I'm I'm looking at you.
Because he's a dog for real.
I'm like, hell, he's my dog for real. I'm looking at you, kid. But barring all of that, honestly, the match itself was pretty damn spectacular. Um, I can make jokes about Gabe Kidd being extra goofy, and my man is he is over the top goofy for me, and I don't think that's gonna change. I think that's just pretty much his personality. I don't know. Um, and you know what? That's fine. If that's how you get a heel across, in for you, if that works for you, then two thumbs up. Like I said, if you want something to get over in wrestling with your character, keep at it. And he is doing just that. So eventually, everyone will recant and just allow this goofy bullshit to happen. But aside from that, like I said I was gonna do. Aside from that, this match was really good. Um, I was a little concerned about the chemistry between Darby and Orange because it's so night and day. Like we have I I- I mean, come on, Orange Cassidy is super laid back
Yeah,
and Darby wakes up screaming like he is
yeah,
always fighting them demons. So,
it's Mr. Whatever and Mr. Extreme in the same tag team.
yeah, like I don't think Darby does anything normal. I think I think everything he does has to be done the extreme way or it's just not going to work. Like he can't have Captain Crunch. It's got to be oops all berries or get the fuck out of here. Like My man is max on everything. And hey, whatever works for you. But this was a great match. I thought the chemistry between those two was better than I thought it was going to be. Connors, as a special note, is a particularly disgusting beast in the ring. Um, like he makes me make funky face when he's in the ring because he does stuff where I'm like, ugh, it just looks so disrespectful. Um, those running charges or whatever it is that he does, where he
And
just
the shoulder
knocks,
tackles.
yeah, cheese. Those things look so mean. It does not look like he's going. It does not like he's pulling his punches out all there. Um, yeah. So he does stuff that's just like I'm like ow, like he hurts me. He hurts me for the person he's fighting or the person that he's wrestling. Um, yeah. So that yeah, I honestly thought that for me it was better than I thought it was gonna be, and I would say, I don't know if you would agree, but I would say that Kid, to some degree, redeemed himself from the last match. Maybe he needed Connors or
I
something,
would.
and not in a weird way, but maybe he needed that type of like support or that type of energy to bounce off of to be him. But I think he did a lot better. I think he redeemed himself in this match. What did you think?
I tend to think they both redeem themselves. To be fair, Connor's in ring, like ever since he showed up, like everything he does, like he does with intensity, and it looks like it hurts.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, just to give an idea of how this match sort of started, before the bell even rang, there was a point where I want to say, like, Gabe Kidd choked out Orange Cassidy on top of some
Oh
steps that
yeah.
he moved over towards the timekeeper's table. But then Cassidy, knocks Kidd off the steps. But before Cassidy can recover, Clark Connors runs up the steps and literally spears him off the top of the steps through the timekeeper table in what looked like a nasty, ugly crash landing.
Yeah.
Like, that was a hell of a spear. And it was, I mean, this is before the bell rang. So after, Kid and I'm sorry, after Allen and Cassidy are basically demolished on the outside of the ring, Kid throws Allen back into the ring and just annihilates him with a lariat that turns Darby Allen inside out and follows that up with a massive fisherman's buster. And like we've already like this is just at the beginning stages of this match. And the dogs have already shown out with some nasty spots. So I
Yeah.
definitely think they certainly redeemed the in ring. Like I don't know if they'll be any less goofy if they're given promo
No.
time, but their in ring work certainly improved here, and I can work with that. I can at least latch onto that. And Connors is a beast.
Yeah.
Like
Bruh.
you said, everything he does, like his shoulder tackles look brutal. There was a point like he did something as simple as a snap suplex, but it was so snappy that the whole damn ring shook. Like
Yeah, that dude is crazy.
that dude throws his moves stiff as shit, and it's amazing. This is the right spot for that kind of wrestling
Yeah.
here
And
here in AEW.
I would actually like to see him versus AEW a AEW version of JD McDonough.
I mean, you could theoretically say that's Darby Allen.
I think JD technically, no offense, I Darby is really good technically, but I think JD is better. I think JD McDonough is a superior wrestler. That dude's amazing. Um, and I mean, he's so amazing that they kind of let him do a little bit more in WWE whenever he does get into the ring. Like he takes crazy bumps. He has some crazy moves that he's done. I think in AEW, JD McDonough would be fucking ridiculous.
Oh, probably. Most likely,
And
he'd definitely get more of a chance to shine
I would like to see him, that JD, in a match with Connors.
with Connors. Yeah, that would probably be a hell of a match, real banger. Um, But yeah, for this one it was good. I was
Yeah,
really happy because, like I said, that last match just between Cassidy and Gabe Kidd did not impress me. It was the low point of the night on that episode.
yeah,
And so I came into this with kind of low expectations to be pleasantly surprised at how much better of a match we ended up getting this time.
yeah,
So way to turn it around, 180 degrees. Now,
yeah,
ultimately, Cassidy and Allen uh, survive this onslaught and are able to kind of use their speed and agility to outmaneuver Connors and Kidd. And this allows them to end up picking up the win when Cassidy hits Connors with an orange punch to get the 3 count.
yeah. It was a great setup too.
Yeah, I believe Allen nailed a coffin drop to both of them on the outside, and then threw in Connors, who was the legal competitor for Orange, to just nail that orange punch. So
Yeah,
very, very good. Um, However, it didn't continue to go that well for Orange Cassidy and Darby Allen, because as they were celebrating, a third dog, as yet unseen on AEW, showed up, and we are told this is David Finlay from New Japan, and he shows up and attacks with a shillelagh, and basically uses the shillelagh to help Kid and Connors pretty much assault Cassidy and Allen, and they were just laid out and stacked up on one another while the three dogs, held their hands high. With, I think Finley had the shillelagh in his mouth. So the dogs, or the war dogs, I guess they're just the dogs now, have expanded their pack, and it looks like they now have David Finley in their corner. So this is now a threat not just to singles, but tags and trios.
yeah, yeah. And maybe War. Maybe I don't know because I agree. I thought it was the War Dogs, and I thought they did that because the like war ready. It's like war ready Gabe Kid, right? And so that's why I thought that's why they put the war in there. But I guess they took that out because maybe that sounded like it was too much about Gabe Kid, and so they just went with the dogs or
Well, it Gabe Kidd, Clark Connors, and David Finley in New Japan are primarily known as the Bullet Club War Dogs. So that didn't get invented by any of us. They did have them as the War Dogs. But
okay,
here in
okay.
AEW, it looks like they're officially just the dogs.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, but this trio is apparently straight imported from New Japan, where they were members of the Bullet Club. So I wonder how that would interact if if Bullet Club Gold could ever, the Bang Bang Gang could ever all get healthy at the same time, and Jay White and all of them came back. I wonder how they would interact with these members of the Bullet Club, the War Dogs. I'm real curious.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that because I mean, and I'm also extremely interested to see this new guy now because again, I don't follow New Japan.
I think we took a look at Wrestle Kingdom, I want to say last year, and we saw a match with David Finley in it, or I remember seeing a match with
Oh,
David Finley
okay,
in it,
okay.
and he power bombed the holy fuck out of whoever he was wrestling, and I was like, oh man, that dude's good. And we first encountered, I think, Gabe Kidd similarly, because he had a match
Yes.
with Kenny Omega at
Yeah.
Wrestle Kingdom. So these guys all can go. It's just how are they going to land here in AEW? And so far, I would say they've turned around what was looking really stupid and goofy to make them look more threatening, which is good.
Yeah.
Like, you can get away with being goofy in AEW, but you still have to be taken seriously in the ring. Like
True.
Harley Cameron's a good example. Like, we don't give her a pass on her in ring work. We note that she's improving it, even though she's got like just overflowing with talent. She can sing, she's got good comedic timing, she can deliver a promo, she could do, kind of sexually, charged things, and she can do ventriloquism. So, like, she's oozing with talent, but she still has to be able to get it done in that fucking ring. That
Yeah.
has to be the core. Another one would be Dalton Castle. who's goofy as shit. But when he gets in that ring and starts suplexing people, he's just throwing them around all over that ring. And
Yep.
so you see what I'm saying? Like, that's probably why Danhausen ended up going to WWE, because he can do the goofiest shit, but he can't get it done in the ring. At least not the last time we saw him. He sure
Right.
couldn't.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be primarily his role too, is just like backstage stuff and comedy. Which, hey, all right. I'm not hating on Darby. I'm not sorry, not Darby, but Danhausen.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see him doing stuff with like R-Truth or Javon Evans or anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But suffice it to say, I'm really interested. Like, this piques my interest in what kind of an impact the dogs can have here in AEW. Um, and this particular match kind of turned around my opinion of what they do in the ring. I mean, Clark Connors is brutal, and I think Gabe Kidd can be, if he stops trying to be a drooling dog man for 5 seconds to actually wrestle the match. Like I appreciate doing some taunts and whatnot, but it can't be like all you're doing in the damn ring, dude.
Dude, I
Um,
wasn't gonna say nothing. I wasn't gonna say nothing.
yeah, and I'm not sure what to expect out of David Finley. Like, all we saw here was him showing up wearing like an all black suit and beating the crap out of Allen and Cassidy with a shillelagh. So we've yet to see how he performs in ring, at least here in AEW. So I'm very curious. And
Yeah.
maybe he was the missing piece. Like, maybe he's the guy who should be the face of the dogs and not so much Gabe Kidd, but we'll see.
We'll see.
But following that match, we are taken backstage to Renee Paquette, who was looking cute as a button. And she is there with Andrade El Idolo and Bandito, who were remarkably civil standing next to each other, since the last time we saw him, like, Andrade was spitting at Bandito. And I believe she asked Bandito what the match meant to him, and he talks about growing up watching Andrade. And I'm like, oh man, he just called you old as shit, Andrade. And he says how much of an honor it would be to face him. And Andrade responded by asking whether Bandito wanted a match or if he was just a fan who wanted to take a selfie. But before he could take that selfie, he got a call and had to leave. So, man, I have to give that one to Andrade. He pretty well smoked Bandito.
I was like, damn, you gotta be so rude. Ugh.
Yep, yep,
Unnecessary, good sir.
unnecessary. But this is more build towards Bandito versus Andrade at Revolution, and I think that's going to be a hell of certainly a great lucha style match. But both of those guys are heavy hitter luchadors that like can do the flips and the aerials, but they can also hit you with them power moves. So this should be a real good match, I think.
Yeah.
And then came a match that threw me entirely. Like, we saw all the buildup with the inspiration, talking about how they wanted to show up and show the brawling birds, that you don't interrupt them while they're having their moment because they're the inspiration. Uh, it didn't quite turn out that way. What were your thoughts on this match?
I mean, I don't have much. I didn't get much of a chance to think about it because I blinked and it was over. Um, I'm not even sure I saw a match. I think the Brawling Birds were in there with two ladies, but then suddenly they evaporated and the match was over. Um, yeah, I thought this was a embarrassingly quick squash match for all the hullabaloo
Yeah,
behind the inspiration. I'm assuming that we're going to see them again fairly soon. Um, to maybe answer for
yeah,
I mean, I just thought, look, I did not expect for them to win. Okay, I didn't because they had the Brawling Birds are on a huge push right now. So I didn't expect for them to win, but I also didn't expect for the match to be over in like 2 minutes. I
Yeah.
thought,
Yep.
yeah, I thought the inspiration were going to give us a little something, show us what they're about, so that we could go, oh, okay, okay, we got new competitors. All right, all right. I didn't know that they were just debuting as the new squash team. I didn't know they were just like, we're here for the bumps. That they should just wore some outfits that said that here for the bumps. Um, yeah, this was this was yeah, just a squash match, and I guess if so, just rating it on that, the Brawling Birds looked phenomenal. They went in there and did what they were supposed to do, destroy some chicks, and then they left.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. That echoes my sentiments. I was really surprised that this was such a lopsided squash after all the hullabaloo and hype for the inspiration. Like they came out and they were dancing badly. Like they danced like you absolutely figured
Oh my
two blonde
god!
chicks might dance. And then their music stopped, so they were like, "Well, let's restart it." And then they tried to start dancing again, and Hater and Windsor just said "nah" and proceeded to annihilate them. And that was the last time that the Inspiration had control of anything in this match. Like I think it was
Um,
like one double team move followed by like a double lariat, and then two birds, one stone, and that's it. It's
yeah,
over.
yes, but I'm so sorry. Can we talk about the worst thing that ever happened to anyone's ears? That freaking
their entrance music.
their interest music. I would love to hear Megan Bain's music played twice the speed it normally is played. I'd listen to it like that a
Oh
thousand
man.
times
Like
before
you
I'd
you got
want
to
to
give,
hear.
like, in case the context is lost for anybody listening, Dawn absolutely super hates Megan Bain's music. So there you go.
Like yeah. You know what? I think you said enough. Yeah, I'm not a fan. So I would listen to that. I would listen to that song if somebody told me, "Hey, it's either this song or this song, but you gotta listen to this song like 20 times in a row." I'd be like, "Well, let me get some popcorn. Um, we're gonna be
Yeah,
here for a minute."
the Inspiration's entrance music was atrociously
It
bad.
is ass. No, atrociously bad. My toenail. No, it was ass. Ass, butt, booty cheeks. Booty, booty, butt, bacon booty, butt cheeks,
Yeah.
ass, butt, booty.
Well, maybe that's the point because neither of the two members of the Inspiration are bringing any cheeks to this party.
Oh, okay, okay.
Buttless,
I'm
buttless in
not
the ring with
here.
the broad birds.
I'm not here to body shame anybody.
You didn't have to. I had you covered.
I, I'm sure it's fine for them. All I'm saying is, stop it, y'all, with that music. Stop it, and stop it. You know what? I'm not gonna body shame you, but I will definitely rhythm shame you. Shame you. Stop it right now.
Get some help.
Get some help. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, so yeah, an absolutely surprisingly lopsided debut for the Inspiration.
Yeah.
I have no idea where they go from here. Um, but I guess the only option is up because you started at the very bottom. Um,
Positivity.
yeah, so take some inspiration from that.
Ah.
Um, but continuing on the squash match trajectory, we then have a match between the AEW World Trios champion Hangman Adam Page versus already in the ring Marty Snow. And if you haven't heard of Marty Snow, well, you're in good company. No one else has either. What were your thoughts on this almost instantaneously fast match?
Well, the male missing member of the inspiration uh came out, and I think he waved to the audience and then he died. So this was yet another very quick squash. I'm not even sure why this was a. I'm not sure why he even. I just don't know. I don't know why. Bless his heart.
Well,
Um,
see, what had happened was Hangman is competitive, and he saw how fast the Brawling Birds dealt with the inspiration, and he wasn't about to get one upped. So he was like, "Big boot, buckshot lariat, no more."
yeah, yeah. This was a two-move match, so there's really not much to say here. It was just a way for Hangman to get the mic and give the audience a little, ooh before instead of just talking their ear off. Um, he gave them a little excitement. Um, he talked some more shit to MJF, and this was also the I think this was the opportunity for his surprise visitor while he was speaking. Aren't I correct?
Well,
Didn't Wasn't he
the
interrupted?
basically what he did was he came out and he called out MJF, and I believe
Yeah,
MJF did come out briefly to
yeah.
say, just some, counter points about how, you don't want a piece of MJF. Didn't you just see me whip Kevin Knight's ass? And before Page could really say anything more, he gets blindside attacked by Kyle Fletcher, Kazuchika Okada, and Mark Davis of the Don Callis family.
That is a very unfortunate group of men. I mean, to be
Yeah,
hit by.
yeah. I
That's a bad
mean,
time.
Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher were what, the United Empire tag team for years. And both of those guys, I mean, Kyle Fletcher, you said it last week. He is absolutely the future of the industry.
Absolutely.
Um, there, he is at absolutely the top level, and he's a relatively young guy.
He
So
cannot be
yeah,
denied. You cannot deny him. I know that there are people that are picking sides right now about what promotion is the best, blah blah blah. I'm talking about professional wrestlers right now. I'm not talking about any promotion. You cannot deny that that dude, Kyle Fletcher, is phenomenal. You can't deny MJF. You can't
yeah.
deny Will Ospreay. You
Hangman,
cannot deny these
phenomenal.
people.
MJF, phenomenal. Mark
You
Davis,
can't.
especially after the last several weeks of him having super dominant showings, phenomenal as a power guy. And
Yeah.
Kazuchika Okada is literally the best tournament wrestler, and he's a legend for a reason. So yeah,
Cannot deny these people. If you are, then you're playing favoritism. You're picking promotions. Okay, good on you. But you can't. Go ahead, knock yourself out. But if you're a fan of professional wrestling, you can't deny these dudes. You can't.
no. And so after the three of them get the jump on Hangman, MJF goes ahead and like holla because he doesn't have anything to do with that. Um, and Page continues to get triple teamed until Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey come out, and you already see Kevin Knight's got his ribs wrapped and he's like moving slow. And so they come out and they do manage to run the three off of Hangman. But while they're on the entrance ramp, out comes everyone's favorite phallus in a suit, Don Callis, Callis the phallus. Um, and
Callous the Palace.
yeah, and he comes out with his perpetual bodyguard, Lance Archer, and all five of those men are standing on the entrance ramp looking at uh, Jet Jet Set Rodeo in the ring. And Callis says, you know, last week you all said, and he's talking to Bailey and Kevin Knight, that you would defend those trios championships anytime, anywhere. And I just got done talking with Tony Khan, and it turns out that the the place is El Paso, and the time is in the main event tonight. And so now, having been jumped, you've got Hangman, who just had, admittedly, a very quick match and got jumped by the Kyle Fletcher, Kazuchika Okada, and Mark Davis. But you also have Kevin Knight, who got his ribs basically obliterated by MJF in the first match of the night. And now they are set to have an AEW World Trios Championship for the double main event of the night, alongside the women's world championship match that was already scheduled. And I mean, the deck is stacked against Jet Set Rodeo here.
Yeah. but I cannot hate on Don Callis. That's a brilliant move.
No, and it continues to further. I mean, I know I just called him Callus the Phallus. That is me speaking to his character in the kayfabe. Don Callis is probably
Yeah.
the biggest heel amongst heels in professional wrestling right now. Like, people will chant "fuck Don Callis" when he's nowhere to be found, just because fuck that guy.
Yeah. Like, oh man, we haven't chanted in a while. What should we chant? Oh, fuck Don
Fuck
Callis.
Don Callis. Yeah, seriously, it's like the default option if you don't have anything else to say. Um, but
It's gonna be like fuck Don Callis Day.
yeah, after the reveal that we'll have a double main event, we are taken backstage into a meeting room where Rennie Paquette is sitting around the table with the Young Bucks, who are waiting on the AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR, and there's been a no contact clause signed by all parties so that they can sit down and talk about their upcoming match.
And Rennie can be safe.
And Rennie Paquette can be safe. Well, mostly safe, because the second FTR does show up, uh, big wheelchair Stoke is like, Renee, move. And so she had to move out of his way so that he could sit at the head of the table in his wheelchair.
Yeah.
Um, but they start talking. The Young Bucks and FTR start talking, and I want to say FTR points out that the Young Bucks, the Briscoes, and FTR are the three greatest teams of the millennium, and that FTR has already handled the Briscoes. So when they finally defeat the Bucks once and for all at Revolution, they'll without question be the best team of the millennium. And that's when the Bucks cut them off and say that this was personal because FTR put their hands on their family when they Spike pile drove their quote unquote younger brother Malachi. um, and the book I want to say that the Bucks are like, if we didn't have this no contact clause, we'd reach across this table and slap the shit out of you right now, but we want to wait and handle you in LA so that they can take the AEW World Tag Team Championships for a record-breaking fourth time in front of their family and leave FTR in a puddle of their own piss and blood. And
Jesus.
Cash Wheeler then says, well, he hopes their families are there too so that FTR can continue to teach your family a lesson. And that pissed off the Bucks. And FTR was like, whoa, hostility. We're going to leave because you guys can't stay professional. And then just before they left, Dax was like, we did sign a no contact clause with the
Oh.
Bucks, but not this guy. And he's pointing at Brandon Cutler, who's sitting there kind of filming, and he just takes a shot at Brandon and knocks him on his ass. And then they
Who
run. They're like, ah! It's
who
like,
by the
pow!
way
Run.
who by the way does not drop the camera. He does not stop
No,
filming.
no,
I would
no,
love to
no.
see that footage.
He's like $2,000 camera ain't touching the ground. I'm sorry.
I want to see that footage. Yeah, I don't know. FTR's shtick worked on me in that particular in that particular
Yeah, it was a
um
good build.
yeah, that really made me laugh. Because it's just so ridiculous. And like you know how somebody like you want to hit them so bad, but you get to the point where they make you laugh somehow. Like I
Yeah.
can't explain it, but you're like, "Oh man, I'm gonna kill you." That's FTR right now. My God, you guys are so annoying, you little twats.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I'm super here for this match. Like, I am over the moon about the Bucks, and FTR in the right match can really go. So I'm hoping at Revolution the Bucks and FTR tear the roof off the place.
Yeah,
Like, I am so here for it. I'm obviously rooting for the Young Bucks. I want them to beat FTR into the floor. But
yeah, of
I'm
course.
hoping for a good match to get us there.
Team Young Buck.
But following that exchange, we return to the ring where we are having an AEW Continental Championship eliminator match. Not a championship match. This is an eliminator match. And this is obviously John Moxley, the current Continental Champion, versus Hechicero of the Don Callis family. And what were your thoughts on this match?
Um, I thought, and I mean, you know what? Yeah, I mean, what I can say could be put it in about two sentences, and that's not in a very disrespectful way, but I'm just saying this match was pretty like straightforward. Hechicero and Moxley worked very well together. They looked good together. I thought at first, again, I thought that there would be an issue with the styles, but no, there was no issue there. I don't know why I thought that because Hechicero is probably closer in style to John Moxley than John Moxley's last opponent, which was
Yeah.
oh god, what I can't remember the guy's. I
Clone?
can't.
Wasn't it El Clone?
Was it El Clone?
I
Yeah, so
think.
yeah. He's yeah. So his style is way closer to a Hechicero than it is to clones and or L clone. So this was a pretty solid match. Like honestly, from beginning to end, just a solid match. Both guys looked good. My only real issue is I wish we could not. I wish we could do away with elimination matches or matches to.
Eliminator matches,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah,
Where you got to
eliminator
beat
matches.
the champ in order to get a chance to beat the champ. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
I wish that we could come up with another excuse for this match. That's basically, you know what I mean? Let's come up with another reason other than that, because that makes no sense.
Yeah.
And that's really my only issue, my only qualm.
And
You, what did you think?
I'm trying to think of what the purpose of an eliminator match is, and I guess it's when you want the
Yeah,
champion to wrestle, but there isn't like a championship stake to it. I guess I don't know.
just have a
To
regular
me,
match.
yeah, to me, you could just have a non-title match, but
Yeah,
whatever. Um, and I'm going to be a little contentious here. I agree objectively with everything you said, but this is a culmination of the technical and submission wrestling style that I find boring as hell. This was the match that I
yeah,
was struggling
yes,
to not fall asleep to.
yeah,
And not because either of these men did anything wrong. If you are here for that style of wrestling, the Daniel Bryan technical kind of fucking submission thing, then more power to you. It's not for me. That's not an objective criticism. That is a personal preference, and I would prefer almost anything other than like I like lucha. I like power wrestling. Striking even. Because Mike Bailey's one of my favorites, and he combines high flying and striking. But when
yeah.
it's just this like, I think this was a line from the match. Look at that hand fighting. I'm like, I don't want to look at hand fighting. Are we thumb wrestling or are we pro wrestling? What the fuck, man? So this was not for me. I'll put that out there right there. So
uh,
this was kind of the most boring match of the evening for me because I'm just not here for it. The best part was the end where John Moxley finished Hechicero off with a Death Rider, instead of like a bulldog choke or something, But yeah, not my cup of tea, unfortunately. But that is
yeah,
entirely personal, not an objective criticism of the match. Both men performed well. Their styles do mesh, which is unfortunate because it's specifically that technical style. But the thing is, John Moxley can kind of go outside of that. Hechicero really just stays there.
yeah,
So that was my take, but that is my very personal take because it's just not my style of professional wrestling.
yeah. No, I can I can totally understand.
Yep. Now I did note that like without any irony, the crowd is now over for John Moxley. Like they cheer for him.
Super over. Yeah,
So they were absolutely just waiting for him to come back. Um, and after the match, after John Moxley picks up the victory, he takes off out into the crowd And I guess he didn't get the memo that Takeshita was going to come to the ring, because Takeshita comes to the ring and stands up on the top rope and is like mean mugging John Moxley, and like halfway out of the arena he notices and then comes back to like mean mug back. Um, Kind of building a little more fire, or at least a reminder of their upcoming big match with no time limit at Revolution. And I'm here for it because John Moxley and Takeshita, the times that we've had that matchup already, has been absolutely a banger each time. So this one, which ideally should give us a definitive winner with no time limit, I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even know how to go with it because Takeshita and Moxley like are both so strong. Like I'm not sure who we can expect to win.
Um, I think it might be Takeshita.
I mean, it could be, but if it wasn't, would you be any more surprised? Because
No,
like Moxley has been killing it out there.
no, but I think that's why. And we haven't seen. I feel like we've seen more of Moxley than we have of Takeshita as of late. Um, and that's
Yeah.
not like a gripe or anything. It's just just a note. I just thought about it. Because you're right. We've seen Moxley, and Moxley has been looking extremely strong. Um, and we've seen him in singles matches, and I don't feel like we've seen Takeshita in nearly as many.
No, I think the last match we saw Takeshita in was a multi-man match. Um,
Yeah.
with the Don Callis family, and possibly, I probably against the Death Riders. Um, but yeah, Moxley is wrestling like every show almost,
Yeah. Yeah.
with that Continental Championship. So he's definitely rebuilt. Remember when not all that long ago, like he couldn't not tap out or win a match on his own, and now it's like he's
Yes.
unbeatable solo, and he's staying legitimately solo. Sometimes Marina Shafir might be out there, but she's not really interfering. Like so, Moxley is just kicking the crap out of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy about it, but now I'm thinking like I don't know, like I hadn't thought about it until now that I haven't really seen much of Takeshita. Maybe he's doing some stuff in
In New
other
Japan,
promotions. Yeah, but I
possible.
mean, kind of I think isn't it important that like AEW uh viewers see that he's looking strong and see him more? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe on the next episode of Collision, Takeshita will come out and just obliterate somebody.
I'm here
Um,
for it.
but following that match, we have Brody King just storming to the ring, and he immediately calls out Swerve Strickland. And in response to that call out, we hear Prince Nana, who said he heard King, but are you sure you want to do this with Swerve? And King says to Nana to quit talking and bring Swerve's ass out here. And so Nana's like, okay. And he says, without further, I believe the line should be without further ado, but I think he says without further interruption. Um, he says, the real most dangerous man in AEW, Swerve Strickland. And the music starts up, and the camera goes, it's looking at Nana, then it looks at King, then it looks at Nana, then it looks at King. And it's like they're practically telling us that Swerve is going to attack him from behind.
Yeah.
And I think everyone saw that by that point from space except Brody King. Um, so while King is looking towards Nana, Swerve Strickland comes up behind him and attacks Brody King with a chain wrapped around his fist, just smacks him in the back of the head, and then just starts wailing on him and hits him with a house call. And then he proceeds to wrap the chain around King's neck, and like Swerve jumps over the top rope to the outside and pulls the slack tight so that King is kind of choking. Uh, I am grateful that they didn't try to do that the other way around, where King has to hang out the outside, because that might have actually choked him to death.
Yeah.
Um, but Swerve proceeds to taunt him and says, he had to send a message to Kenny Omega, and now he's clearly going to have to send one to you, Brody King. And Swerve said he'll be seeing King at Revolution, where he'll prove that he is, in fact, the most dangerous man. And this continued for a bit until Bandito ran out and ran Swerve and Nana off of King. So now we're going to have a who is the real most dangerous man match between Swerve Strickland and Brody King at Revolution, and that is going to be brutal.
Yeah.
Both of those guys are psychos and are willing to do the crazier shit. Like Swerve and King are for the sickos.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the everybody left bloody and broken match of Revolution. At least one of them.
I think both of them. I think they're gonna beat the
Oh,
snot
yeah.
out of each other.
Yeah. No, I just meant one of the potential sickos matches that shows up at
Gotcha.
Revolution.
Gotcha.
But yes, I imagine both King and Swerve will be absolutely annihilated in that.
Oh, yeah. It better be.
After that, we are taken backstage where the Death Riders have some stuff to say to the Don Callis family. Danny Garcia, unfortunately, was given screen time and says he's not sure whether the Don Callis family is stupid or dumb. I'm not sure whether Daniel Garcia is stupid or dumb. I'm going to go with both. But he asks, when is Don Callis' family going to stop picking fights they can't win? And at this point, Wheeler Yuta decides to save us from Daniel Garcia by stepping forward and revealing his bald head. And he says, get a good look. It was his darkest day when he had to get a haircut. Oh, man. What a sheltered life you have lived, Mr. Yuta, if getting a haircut is your darkest day. But he says it's fine because the Death Riders have his back, whether he wins or loses. And then Marina Shafir stepped up and forgot that she's supposed to have an accent and says, Tony Storm better shoot from the hip and make her laugh.
Sorry.
And last but not least, Moxley spoke. And he said all of them, a bunch of punk asses, Callis family, CMLL. That was the baddest hombre CMLL got to give to the champ. Is that all you got? New Japan? Question mark. And then he goes on to say, nobody does it like we do. Nobody does it like this team. Nobody is willing to go as far or as long as we are. And then he's like, Takesh, duh. And I remember we made fun of it because I'm sitting there thinking, wait, you just said nobody's willing to go as far or as long as you are, but apparently that last syllable in Takeshita was just further than you were willing to go.
Takeshita.
It was like Takeshita.
Are you summoning
So
him?
yeah, I think he was trying to call him into existence.
Takeshita.
But hey, Revolution, you and me, bud, we're gonna go as long and as far as it takes. I'm glad he didn't manage to slip up and say as long and as hard, because that just would have been over. That promo would have been done for. But he says we're gonna see this through all the way to the very end. Well, yeah, I hope so. You ain't got no time limit, so there's nothing else to do but finish the match.
It was like somebody tased Moxley right at the end of Takeshita's name.
it was like the caffeine and
Takeshita.
cocaine wore off right in that moment.
Takeshita.
Man, somebody needs to tell Moxley to sip on eye drink or something that doesn't have that crash.
Oh man.
But yeah, the Death Riders endlessly funny for all the wrong reasons when they cut promos. But after that little bit of amusement, unintentional levity, we are brought to the first of the double main events of the night, which is the AEW Women's World Championship match. The Toxic Spider Tekla, who is the defending world champion, versus Thunder Rosa in her hometown or adopted hometown of El Paso, Texas. And what were
Yeah.
your thoughts on this women's championship match?
I'm gonna say that I am probably, or I have been in the past, one of Thunder Rosa's um harshest critics. Since she, I mean, I just kind of felt like if you're gonna come in and half-ass, a match, then you're in the wrong promotion, because the climate for that has changed considerably for the ladies. Um, and I think I think she must have read the memo or something, because she did fantastic. Um, and I say this a lot. Uh, I guess it's just a turn of phrase that I use that pretty much sums up what I think. But I feel like Tekla and Thunder Rosa, I feel like they worked really well together. I thought they meshed really well. The match, I feel like they were more even. I thought they were more even than I thought they would be.
Yeah.
In this
Yep.
match. Um, which was a bit of a surprise to me. And so I gotta give Thunder Rosa her credit where it is due, because I think she did a fantastic job. Now, while I did not think that Tekla would lose the belt, um, I also didn't think that Thunder Rosa would give her much of a challenge, or more as much of a challenge as she did, and I was incorrect. Um, she did a damn good job, and that was a damn good match. It was one of the matches that I was not looking forward to. Um, and I was incorrect in not doing so, because it turned out to be probably one of the better matches of the night. Tekla is, I think, amazing. She is an edge lord to the max. Um, but like, she eats up the entire scenery, like that girl.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, there is nothing left for anyone else. You better get in where you can fit in, or move out of the way, because she is not stopping for anybody. Um, which makes her very, very amusing to watch in the ring and on the mic. She's, yeah, pretty crazy. So yeah, I thought this match was hella better than I thought it was gonna be. And Tekla is pretty. She's pretty awesome. I think Tekla's a pretty awesome wrestler. I would keep an eye out for her.
Hmm.
What did you think?
I have to agree. This was better than I thought it would be, and that's
Yeah.
basing it on the last showing that we had with I think Thunder Rosa versus was it Julia Hart? And I didn't think either one of them looked that good in that match. But Thunder looked good here. I especially like that at some point in the match she hits Tekla with the Fire Thunder Driver,
Yeah.
which I think is the better of the moves that she uses. In my opinion, much more devastating than the package power bomb that she uses as a finisher currently. Um, but yeah, they really took it to each other. So this ended up being a far greater match than I thought it would be. However, Tekla proves to be just too toxic. Um, and the match kind of turns in her favor after she ends up drilling Thunder Rosa with a spider suplex, and then she kind of climbs down off of the turnbuckle directly into the back bend, the creepy back bend, and hits Thunder Rosa with the first spear. And then Thunder tries to mount a bit of a comeback, but Tekla ends up reversing and hits her with a second spear, followed by two curb stomps. And at that point, it's just over for Thunder. Like that's it. After the second curb stomp, it's 1, 2, 3. Tekla wins clean, no interference from the Sisters of Sin. Although they do show up at ringside to celebrate the victory, and I guess Statlander thought that there was going to be a gang up against Thunder Rosa, so she starts to come to the ring, but then like out of nowhere, like six security dudes show up to try and keep Statlander from getting in there,
Yeah.
and the
For some
Sisters of
reason.
Sin. Yeah. For some reason, and the Sisters of Sin don't actually get into the ring, but I think Tekla drills Thunder Rosa with yet a third stomp, and at
He
this
did.
point, like Statlander's had enough, so she starts throwing security people out of the way and gets into the ring, which runs off Tekla, and so this particular match closes with Chris Statlander sort of holding Thunder Rosa, like cradling her to, protect her from any sort of retaliation from the Sisters of Sin. And then all three of them, Tekla and the Sisters of Sin, ascend the entrance ramp and are heading off. And I think Tekla said something, but I can't remember what it was. Like they picked it up on the cameras, but it was something like the era of toxic is now, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
And
know why backstage or the security dude started showing up when Statlander was walking down the ramp. Where were y'all when the sisters came down? Like, I'm not sure why just because Statlander
right,
walks down, we need to stop her. And I mean in doing so, you gave Tekla all the opportunity and time in the world that she needed to deliver yet another stump to Thunder Rosa. So what was the point of that? Was that it? God, you guys getting paid off by Tekla?
oh no, that's it. The Sisters of Sin are paying off security again.
She's got minions now. It's a toxic
But
era
hey,
indeed.
I feel like this was a good match for both women. Like Thunder looked
Yeah,
good here, even though she didn't pick up the win. She
she did.
wrestled a
I
good
agree.
match.
Yeah.
And we needed to see the Toxic Spider Tekla like straight beat somebody without any help that is kind of considered top tier talent there, because there was that asterisk about like, well, she wouldn't have possibly beat Chris Statlander if it had not been for the interference of the Sisters of Sin. So this helps build Tekla's credibility that she can win without the Sisters of Sin, that she's good on her own. And it was what her first title defense since she won it. So this was good.
Yeah.
And it turned out a lot better than I'm with you. It turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
And so after that match, we get a brief video vignette where Jungle Jack Perry, wants to go to war with the Demand, and he reminds everyone in last week's Mile High Madness match, it ended with him pinning the AEW National Champion Ricochet, and that's the third time he's gotten the pin, and that tends to be the case when the odds are even and he's not getting jumped by the Demand. And so he says pretty soon it'll be time for Perry and Ricochet to finish the war. And then they clip over to Ricochet, who responds by saying he's the most fighting champion in AEW. So if it's war Perry wants, that's what he'll get. So we quite possibly have Jungle Jack Perry going to war with Ricochet for the national championship at Revolution as well. And I'm here for that. That's going to be a hell of a match too.
Yep. I'm here for that.
And following that, we catch Rennie Packett again. She's been everywhere. And this time, the
Busy
omnipresent
packet.
Rennie Packett is kind of on the entrance ramp between the ring and the backstage. And this is where Tommaso Ciampa comes out and they do his intro. And man, Tommaso Ciampa has cool entrance music.
He
He
does.
is like the polar opposite of the Inspiration and their awful entrance music. Um, but he comes out and he's talking with Rennie Packett, and she asked what he plans to do to get back the TNT Championship. And he immediately says, let me address the elephant in the room, and that's Kyle Fletcher, who took the title from him and renamed it from Sylvie to Pinky. But now he's hiding in, triples matches and tag teams with the Don Callis family. And he goes on to say that, that's because Fletcher knows that if, him and Fletcher run it back, it's going to go Champa's way. and that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get back into that picture. You know, if he's got to go to war with Fletcher, so be it. If he's got to go to war with Briscoe, so be it. Um, and he was just about to say something else, but then FTR's music kicked on, and I think we were watching at the time. And we're like, "What FTR? What the fuck? What what the what?"
What the what?
Um, so they come out, and there's a bit of a standoff, and then Dax Harwood like leans in to give Champa a hug, and Champa's like, "Oh, okay," and I want to say, I think Dax Harwood says, you know, we have a history, and now that you're here in All Elite Wrestling, you know, if you joined up with FTR, we could absolutely run this joint. And Champa says, like, the reason that won't work is that he hated them 10 years ago and he still hates them today. And Stokely started to say something, and Champa said, "Hey, shut up! The grown folks are talking." And Harwood, you know, jumped in to say that if Champa has a problem with Big Stoke, he's got a problem with FTR. And Champa says, "Well, I heard about the non-contact clause with the Bucks, but I didn't sign one." And he slaps the shit out of Dax Harwood, and it was great.
It was so
Um,
great.
and FTR kind of, you know, takes a moment and they recover, and Harwood says to Ciampa, you know, "I'm not mad at him, but I will see you at Collision on Saturday." And then they leave, and Ciampa is just left standing there with Rennie Paquette, kind of going, "Okay." And after that, we get Timeless Tony Storm checking up on Orange Cassidy in medical. And do you want to speak to this? Because I don't think I can do justice to the lines that Tony Storm delivered during this segment. Like, it was a tongue twister.
Oh, you want me to give it a try? Okay. Oh, so Tony Storm is checking on Cassidy. Um and excuse me. She commandeers a camera. She has to follow her into the medical area, and corn Cassidy?
Corn Cassidy.
Cornosity. Cornosity. He's being treated after the attack by Finley. Uh, and she's asking him what happens, and he ran down what happened. Uh, and he pretty much says that like those guys just want to fight. So him and Darby, they'll fight him at Revolution. But that's not for a couple of weeks. So they'll fight them next week and all the weeks after that. Uh, and I'm gonna try to say what Tony said
Yeah.
because it was good. It was good. She said, "Well said, my darling Clementine, but now hear this. Where there are war dogs, there are death riders not far behind. So if you're not far behind the war dogs and the death riders are not far behind them, then there's no better behind to be behind than this behind if you're a nicotine chewing Nazi that wants her lips twisted and her face fisted. Got it?" So,
Woof. Yeah, and Tony pulled that off and did not trip over any of it. And I was like,
yeah,
wow.
she said that yeah, yeah, bless her. Um, a true talent. Tony Storm is. Tony Tongue Twisting Storm.
Tony
Um,
Tongue Twisting Storm, who also happens to be timeless.
Timeless. Uh, so that cut that promo and led us into the last match of the night. I believe it was the second main event. I
Yep.
believe, yeah.
The yep.
Yeah, the
The
AEW World Trios Championship match between the Don Callis family, which was the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, the TNT champion, the Protostar Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis. versus Jet Set Rodeo, which is Hangman Adam Page, Speedball Mike Bailey, and the Jet Kevin Knight. And might I just say what I thought of this match?
Absolutely, but I should point out that the jet was flying with like half a wing and one engine on this one,
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, he was suffering like engine failure. Um,
like
so
G did.
suffer like G did. If you know, you know. Um, so yeah, this was pretty much the continuation of my prediction. Okay. So I predicted that Kevin Knight would get obliterated by MJF, and technically he did. It just didn't show up until like it didn't complete. Didn't come to completion until the second main event, this match. Um because essentially everything kind of fell on Kevin Knight, and we kind of knew that, like when we saw that Kevin Knight was being cornered and like pulled away from the rest of the team and singled out, then we kind of knew what was happening here. Like we saw the beginning of the end. So and I'm kind of happy that what happened because uh that solidifies the end result between Hangman and MJF when they have their match. Like I know for a fact now what's gonna happen, but I know sounds like I'm talking in code and all that, but I'm just saying that I predicted that Kevin would end up not winning and basically being destroyed, like hospitalized to the point that he's hospitalized. Anything, something that would result in them losing their belts. That did not happen, but they ended up in a second match of the night. So basically, what I predicted would happen technically did happen, just not the way I saw it happening, which gives me great joy that AEW's creative team is thinking a bit outside of the box, because we all know normally how this type of stuff would have gone down. It would have been some shit like what I said. Um, like he would have attacked him and then like, fucked him up, so then they would have had to have given up the belt. Instead, what happened was they got put into a second match of the night, and while Hangman was doing just fine, Kevin was not, because, like I said, MJF was going to obliterate. He was going to hurt him, and hurt him he did. Um, and then he just continued the hurt for the last match. Uh, there was a point that they were like in the match. Do you mind if I talk about the ending?
No, no, by all means.
Okay, because I'm sure that most people that are listening or are hearing this have seen what we are referring to already, and if you haven't, then here it is, guys. What had happened was, um, they essentially, like I said, singled out Kevin Knight. Like he was the odd man out. They saw the injury and they went after it. Just like in any match where there's like a match
Kinetic
against
tape
some.
on somebody, or yeah,
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They've got injury. We're gonna hone in on it. That's what they did here. Um, and there was a point where it looked like he was gonna be able to get out of the match, and yeah, that that did not happen. They found a way to keep him in, and I even think MJF came and at one point knocked Hangman clean out. And I
he did.
think by then Speedball was also either knocked out of the ring or dealing with another member of the Don Callis family. So he was nowhere to be found. And again, they cornered Kevin in the ring and obliterated him, and they ended up winning the belts, the trios belts. Um, so technically, what I predicted would happen did happen. MJF uh ruined Kevin Knight Knight in their match, and it just continued in the main event. I thought that this was a fantastic match, not only in ring but in writing as well. Whoever wrote or produced this was a really brilliant match. The whole scenario, the whole write up for this particular episode of Dynamite, um, was just done very very well. Um, AEW reminds me of the old school uh wrestling shows that reminded me of soap operas when I was a when I was a kid, because I was so invested. Like, it was so high drama, it was so, like, overly dramatic, and listen, nothing happened except for one guy bumped into another guy, but disrespecting is just it's just not gonna work, man. Like, honestly, a little tiny thing was blown out of proportion, and it was just fantastic. In this case, I feel like AEW's creative have found a way to take the old school gripes and reasons that people would have wrestling matches back in the day and develop them into um deeper character driven storylines that make a lot more sense, that actually have some other I don't know, I can't explain it, but I thought this whole setup, like having Kevin Knight in this match with MJF at the beginning of the show, uh not like obliterating him the way he was going to, but still injuring him greatly. He really gave him a hard time, right? Kayfabe injury. Um, and then having that whole thing come full circle, all the way back to when they mentioned, they being the Jet Set Radio, mentioning that they'll have a match anytime, any place, and then Don Callis
Yep.
coming out and bringing that back up, like the whole kid and caboodle was just chef's kiss. And this was a fantastic match. Like, in ring work, storyline, this is all good. This is bloodline level shit when the bloodline was at the peak of its storytelling. Like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I feel like this is what wrestling programming looks like when there is an actual plan week to week.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, this played out close to how you predicted. MJF first hurts Knight and then cost Jet Set Rodeo the Trios Championships. It just all happened in a much shorter time frame and to a slightly lesser degree. Like, MJF didn't run Kevin Knight over with a truck or something.
Yeah.
Um, and even though Knight wasn't sent to the hospital, it did play out effectively how you said it would. And this is good because, Jet Set Rodeo and Hangman had been consistently winning in this feud with MJF, and it had to go the other direction a bit. Um, I felt like this was an excellent second main event, with good, solid in ring action to support the storytelling that they were trying to do. And it ultimately comes to an end when Hangman ends up hitting, I want to say, Mark Davis with a massive lariat, and then drive by tags Kevin Knight, and then jumps out of the ring to try and set up for the buckshot lariat while Kevin Knight climbs to the top rope. But that's when MJF struck. He pulls down Hangman and clobbers him with the Dynamite Diamond Ring behind the referee's back, and then Kevin Knight still tries to dive on Davis, but by that point, Davis recovered enough to move out of the way. And this allows Kazuchika Okada to get in there and hit him with a Rainmaker. And then I want to say Mark Davis then picks him up in a gut wrench pile driver, and just that's it. It's over for Kevin Knight. And so it's 1, 2, 3, and your new AEW World Trios champions are the Don Callis family, Kyle Fletcher, Kazuchika Okada, and Mark Davis.
Yep.
And that was the shocking close to this episode of Dynamite. That said, how would you review this episode of Dynamite?
I mean, this was great. It was great from beginning to end. I'd be remiss to give it anything lower than an 8.5. Um, It was a fantastic show.
Nice. So an 8.5.
Yep.
All right. Short and sweet. Um, yeah, I felt like this was a very, very good episode of Dynamite. I had like maybe a couple of minor quibbles at worst, but everything was solid. My quibbles are I'm not sure why there was so much build for the inspiration only to have them get embarrassingly squashed. And I didn't love the style of match that Mox and Hechicero put on, but that's a personal taste thing. So that didn't affect the score at all. Everything else I felt was absolutely excellent. I totally loved the impromptu second main event. Thunder Rosa versus Tekla was far better of a match than I had anticipated, and we got a surprise trios title change. I mean, maybe not that surprising because it kind of fell in line with your predictions, but we thought that was something that might happen over the course of a couple few shows or even like, across the next week.
Yeah.
Um, and many storylines and matches were furthered for Revolution. And last but not least, I really appreciated that the War Dogs, or just the Dogs, were not goofy and actually looked really dangerous in the ring against Allen and Cassidy, which was a big turnaround from the last time I had seen them. So for
Yeah.
me, this was a real banger of an episode, and I too will give it an 8.5, making it absolutely top tier. So, with that, that's been a review of AEW Dynamite, and I want to thank every one of our listeners who joined us for this episode. And I invite you to tune in for our next episode, which should be our coverage of AEW Collision this week. Until then, I don't think there's anything for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning into this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest wrestling news and shows. You can find us on all major podcast platforms as well as our YouTube channel where we upload all of our episodes. You could also follow us on Instagram and X for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.